And as the president is wrapping up the 2020 State of the Union, as I bear witness to this sharply divided country, or at least the government, the Congress, sharply divided. Of course, impeachment and other policy disagreements have the powers that be at odds, and this great American comeback, as Trump has labeled it, his watch, 3 years after he took office. If you remember coming in, he was talking about American carnage under President Obama. There were a lot of references to President Obama tonight. Of course, Radio on Fire, Diamond K in here. And we're going to give reactions to Trump's State of the Union. It was a theatrical piece. There was a performance element to it. Some different things that we saw take place that just don't normally happen at the State of the Union. Now, of course, the State of the Union is a ceremonial thing for the most part. But Trump being the first president to run for re-election after being impeached. Surprisingly, Trump did not reference his impeachment. His acquittal is presumed to be happening tomorrow. And and I'm talking about Trump, of course, he received a very, raucous, but divided response from Congress. The Republicans in the House were chanting 4 more years like we were at some kind of rally. I mean, I've never seen that happen before. Of course, Democrats stood there just looking during this very weird chant. There were many times where Trump just went down the basics. You know what I mean? Like this was this could have easily been a campaign speech. It probably was a campaign speech. Trump talked about how America's enemies are on the run. Americans' fortunes are on the rise. America's future is blazing bright, he said. But bright for who? That is the question. Bright for who? And he went down the whole list of things that he wanted to give a victory lap on and dance around. It was something that is not surprising. We've definitely seen him do this before, but he spent much of the speech highlighting the economy's supposed strength, right? Supposed strength. Americans, do you feel better now than you did 3 years ago? That's a question. I mean, it's hard to remember back 3 years ago, all the stuff that we've said, that we've been witness to. But of course, he talked about it, and you've heard him do it before, the alleged low unemployment, stressing that blue-collar workers and the middle class, through the period of growth that began under President Obama, is now all the doing of Trump. And you call this an unprecedented boom. Everything's better. Jobs are the lowest for African Americans. Jobs are the lowest for Spanish Americans. Jobs are the lowest for, or jobless. Unemployment's the lowest for Asian Americans. Everything's better. Basketballs are bouncing more, and cars are driving faster. He's juvenile. He's juvenile. I think that these State of the Unions can be an opportunity for the president, whoever that president is, to reach out to the other side. You know what I mean? Kind of bury the hatchet a little bit. Let's speak about some of the things that we agree on. But whenever presidents get the opportunity to do this type of address, they just don't seem to reach over the aisle. You can reach over the aisle. You can make the other side look like something's wrong with them for not trying to work with you, but this just doesn't happen. Doesn't happen, and this is not something that only I'm speaking about with Trump. I'm talking about other people as well. Very partisan, very divided, and it's crazy for me to think that Trump would be someone that would make an attempt to unify. I wondered whether or not he was going to address the charges against him. He did not. And I think that was to his benefit that he did not. But Trump spoke from the House of Representatives on the opposite side of the Capitol from where the Senate tomorrow is expected to acquit him largely along those party lines. Now, the first half of the speech was optimistic, not mentioning the impeachment at all that has consumed Washington and politics for the last few months. No mention of it. But there was a lot going on. Nancy Pelosi, in nearly every camera shot, she's looking away, she's smirking, she's moving her mouth and saying some things. At the end of the speech, she ripped up her copy of the speech. And when asked about why she did that, she said that was the nice thing to do. I could have did something else. That was the nice thing to do. She wanted to do what did she want to do? Did she want to throw it in his face? Did she want to punch him in his mouth? What did she want? What did she want to do? She wanted to cuss him out? I don't know. She is from Baltimore. There's no telling what she wanted to do. But she has been a frequent thorn in Trump's side. I don't think that that's going to change anytime soon. Pelosi created a viral image, if you remember, with that very sarcastic or seemingly sarcastic applause that she was doing with him looking at her. That was a good moment, good, like I said, viral moment. But Trump didn't seem to be cordial himself. There's a lot of animosity between the two. When he did come to the stage, so to speak, he did not shake her hand. She tried to shake his hand, and he did not shake it. But some people may say that he didn't see it. But I think he saw it. And he just was like, I don't want to shake her hand. And that's fine. But I just don't know if that's the right place to do that. But so she does stuff, he does stuff. That's what it is. But the Republicans cheered often. She remained seated most of the time. Sometimes she even shook her head like, this Bama is lying again. But all in all, there was a lot of, I don't want to say pageantry, but there was just a lot of things happening. Rush Limbaugh, who recently released information about his stage 4 lung cancer, very divisive figure in politics, very outspoken, conservative, far right-wing radio host who just arbitrarily received the Medal of Freedom in the middle of the State of the Union. I mean, he could have done that other times. He could have done that earlier today. He could have done it tomorrow, but he did it right then, just during the State of the Union, and the First Lady just had it on standby, and she put it around his neck. It was super weird, and Rush Limbaugh appearing to get emotional, and seems like he was trying to produce some tears that never came out. There were a bunch of families recognized. A scholarship was given out. There was a reunion of a military family. All of these things happening right during the State of the Union. There were some Gold Star families that were out, and the president wanted to highlight, these are the reasons why I took out some of these terrorists. And he brought out people that had been impacted by the terrorists. and that is something that happens frequently. There were some things that the president chose to highlight, and other presidents do this as well, just to sympathy, to get a reaction from people, and just to show people real life that a lot of real life people being impacted by whether it is violence from illegal immigrants, whether it is whatever, these special interests are highlighted, and this is something that we saw in major display tonight during the 2020 State of the Union by President Trump. Your man Don McKay in here, Radio on Fire, of course, reporting for the nation. Now, in comparison, historically, Bill Clinton did not mention his recent impeachment when he delivered his State of the Union back in 1999. In his address from last year, Trump did remain on message, making no mention of how Pelosi had originally disinvited him from delivering the speech during that government shutdown. If you remember that, it seems like it was so long ago. It was just last year. Trump talked about the new trade agreement that he has negotiated, including his Phase 1 deal with China and the United States, Mexico, and Canada agreement, which was signed last month. So there was that. He talked about American values, discussing efforts to protect religious liberties, which there's nothing wrong with that, limit access to abortions, as he continues to court the evangelical and the conservative Christian voters who form a very crucial part of his base. So it was like a checklist in there, and everybody that is a special interest for Trump, they were highlighted, things were highlighted, but there were lies told. There were lies told about health care as it relates to this president. There were lies told about Medicare and protecting that, and different things that Trump has. He says one thing and he does something else in regards to that. But there were moments where people were chanting things, and there was just a lot going on. Lot of things going on. Maxine Waters and AOC announced in advance of the speech that they would be skipping it, with the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeting that she would not use her presence at the state ceremony to normalize Trump's lawless conduct and subversion to the Constitution. So, but some of her freshman, alumni, cohorts, colleagues were at the State of the Union. So there was a lot going on. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer was delivering the party's official response, and in a school, her daughter's school in Michigan. So it was a good speech that she gave, and she didn't address directly what Trump said, but she more so spoke in general about holding people accountable for what they do, and there was talk of health care and the such. One comment that she said that stuck out: it doesn't matter what the president says about the stock market. What matters is that millions of people struggle to get by or don't have enough money at the end of the month after paying for transportation, student loans, and prescription drugs. You constantly hear about people saying, pundits and politicians saying that the economy is so great, but they are referring to the stock market. And many people are going to say they are exactly at the same point that they were 3 years ago. If you look at how much money you have after your bills are paid, is it that much more money than you had 3 years ago? No. If you're a regular person, it is pretty much the same. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. President Trump delivering the State of the Union at the U.S. Capitol. Another wild one. We're going to be talking about this for quite some time. So I'll be back tomorrow with another edition of The Diamond K Show.
Do you have a business, product, or event that you need to promote to men and women ages 23 to 44? If so, Radio on Fire can help you do it with one of our promo packages. Our broadcasts reach over 150,000 people per month. Sponsorship for one or all of our radio programs can include live mentions, social media posting, commercials, and more. Visit radioonfire.com/advertise to find out more about a promo package that fits your needs. Rates start as low as $50. If you want to reach men and women ages 23 to 44, log on now, radioonfire.com.